7 minutes after 9 o'clock. Beautiful Tuesday morning, and it's time for In the Garden with Carol Ann Baldwin. The phone lines are open if you want to call Carol Ann. The number is 352-622-9622. Good morning, Carol Ann. How you doing?
Good morning. Real good. How are you?
Good. I posted some photos on your Facebook page.
Did you?
Last week.
Oh, yeah, I saw a couple of my things because I saw them come up.
It's been a while ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back up on. It's like where did the Wi-Fi go?
Oh, I don't know what's going on, but there's a vacuum cleaner guy outside or something.
No, it's not a vacuum. He's blowing the
Whatever.
stuff. He's not
Still noisy. Still noisy. Yeah. I posted some photos from the desert.
Yes, I did see some, and it's like it's crazy. Okay, that one I don't want to be connected to.
So I posted some photos.
One.
I don't know what I posted though, except for the Joshua tree. That's the only.
Yes, yeah.
And I can tell you cactus, but I don't know what kind of cactus.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with.
That's like saying
cactus.
This is a flower.
Right. It's green. It's a cactus.
This is a flower.
I guess I got to do everything from the phone because it's like it doesn't want y'all's Wi-Fi.
How important is it to identify something? Like if you're caring for something. How important is it to know what it is?
Actually, it's very important to know what it is because when you know what it is you're caring for, you know its requirements. It's lighting, it's food, it's water, all of that kind of stuff. Does it need to prune? Does it need certain temperatures, for it to do its best? I was talking with somebody the other day and said, you can't grow caladiums inside. And I went, really? I said, yeah, because in your house, the temperature's actually too cool.
Oh, really?
They won't do well. And they just keep doing because they prefer the heat. They are a summer plant that doesn't come up till the ground warms up to certain temperatures. Boom, they come out. Once things start to cool, the days shorten, and that they just naturally die off. So if you don't know what you've got, you don't really know how to care for it best. Just like if you didn't know, and this sounds really childish or dumb, if you didn't know if it was a dog or a cat.
Yeah, that's a good way of, that's right.
Would you not know, how to care for a cat is a little bit different than caring for a dog, even though we all know that they need food, they need water, they need exercise and things like that, but it's still, the food that they eat is a little different, and the exercise that they will get will be a little different. And I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you. Must be that guy blowing the leaves out there.
Must be. He's blowing dust in my nose through the window. Yeah,
So, let's see. So while I was gone, I put my peace lily outside in a shaded area. Bless you. Bless you. You got an allergy going on.
I got something. I think it is allergy this time of year. It's been kind of getting me a couple times.
So moving the peace lily outside was, I was worried because there was nobody going to water it.
Right, and of course it didn't rain.
Well, but the thing is, I made this mistake when I first got it. I put it out in the sun.
Oh, right.
And apparently this is, and I didn't look it up at all, but apparently this is a plant that needs shade.
Right.
So I just put it there, and it was a little droopy.
Right.
But it wasn't too bad.
But it wasn't, and with some water, it popped back up.
Gave it water yesterday when I came back, and it came back.
It pops back up, and if you end up with a brown leaf or two, that was just, those ones got a little stressed, and just snip those ones off, and it'll be fine. Yeah.
And the apple tree did pretty good too.
Yeah.
But it has some brown leaves.
And I was going to say, but that's a nice big pot, so it does have a tendency to stay a little more moist.
Oh, good.
Kind of thing. And you're going to have a few brown leaves this time of year, just because it's this time of year. And we also went from a true rainy season to boom, we haven't gotten any rain.
Yeah, and the weather.
I've had to water, my plants, and it's like, really, come on. There's not, I'm not used to have to water except for on odd occasions, or in the wintertime. And this September has been dry as a bone.
Do you know what's strange, Caroline? In the desert, there's nothing.
There's a horse with no name.
Yeah, that kept coming up. But in the news this morning, we saw that Arizona had some monsoon flooding, in the same area we were in.
Right. Wow.
So, in a way, I'm glad we didn't.
That you got out when you did.
Didn't experience that because it sounds like it's not easy to deal with. So.
Yeah, I understand that is pretty hard because they suddenly just get deluged, and because the ground is arid, it doesn't necessarily soak in quickly, come in and go down in, because it just sits on top for a bit. And then runs off, and I don't know if it's actually true. Somebody could tell me I'm a moron, or I heard something really crazy. But in areas like that,
you're from Jersey. None of us on the East Coast really know what that's like.
That's true. Was that when those floods come down, some of those from out of the mountain areas, and that you might be on over a little creek or something, and that water's coming up. If you're stuck there, you open both the doors on both sides of your car. And just, otherwise it'll sweep you off.
That might be true.
And just let that water run through.
Yeah.
And,
Well, that's interesting,
Yeah.
And there are a lot of areas that you can see that happens.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that was years ago I had heard that.
I would love to see that, but,
yeah.
It's completely a different world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we saw a road runner.
Oh, did you? Oh, cool. Was there a coyote running behind him with a bag from Acme?
No, but, it looks... Okay, I saw two roadrunners, actually. One on the road. Mm-hmm. I don't know where they ran before we invented roads. But,
I don't know, yeah.
But one was on the road, and it was kind of far up there, so all we really saw was a silhouette.
Okay.
But the other one was in this lady's yard.
Okay.
And I was relatively close. I could see the details and the beautiful bird that it is.
That's cool.
Why they don't fly, I don't know. What's God thinking?
Well, just ostriches don't fly either.
I know, but that's a big bird.
Penguins.
This is a little one. I wonder if they ever fly.
There's other birds that are smaller that don't fly.
Really?
Yeah.
But anyway, so we saw that. And also in the desert, there's these tiny little rodents that look like squirrels.
Little prairie dogs?
But they're little. No. They're about the size of like a tennis ball. But they're squirrels.
Oh, are they a squirrel?
I think. I don't know. They look like squirrels, little tiny squirrels.
Neat.
And the only other wildlife we saw was a cow. We saw one cow.
Saw a cow?
Just walking in the desert. I don't know how they live.
Yeah.
What they eat. Nothing.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And then we saw, the lizards and things like that. And I did not see one snake, believe it or not.
Oh.
No snake.
Well, during the day, they're probably up
underground,
rocks, maybe, or up
yeah.
under rocks and things like that. But, and of course, I don't think it's happened here, but places like Arizona, New Mexico, with more and more people moving into those areas, or when they did, and probably continually, and building subdivisions, and everybody, just the same way everywhere, wants a lawn, and they want a landscape.
Not up there. They have rocks.
Well, but in my understanding, in certain areas, they've put in lawns, and they've actually raised the humidity
I have heard
in
that
these
too.
areas, and they've done. I mean, this is one of those kind of things. I think that they had the ability to measure it, because people are irrigating this grass and irrigating these trees that are really not that they're not plants. They're not the right plant in the right place, because you're trying to bring some plants either maybe out of more of the mountainous areas down where it might be native to the state, but it's not native to your elevation, kind of thing, that the moisture and things like that. But with the advent of irrigation and good water and all of that they've changed some of that climate.
The only place we saw a lawn in Lake Havasu City, this is what I'm talking about, was at the cemetery.
Wow.
I didn't see one house with a lawn. Everybody had rocks.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and that makes sense. I mean, that's not a location where grass should grow.
Probably, and water is a commodity, so you don't want to really be blowing it on the lawn.
Yeah, hopefully that if you're drinking it and bathing with it, that's fine. But you're sitting there spraying it out on the ground doesn't make.
But
any sense.
my brother put in a well on his property in the middle of the desert.
Right.
And we tested it. He's been gone since May, so we thought, well, maybe we better test it. And my younger brother put a generator onto it.
Okay.
Turned it on. It was beautiful, cold, fresh water.
Right.
Plentiful. It's like, holy cow.
Nice.
There's a lot of water under the desert.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's probably a very deep well.
500 feet.
Oh, well, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, 500 feet.
I mean, with that, you'd go right through Florida.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And you'd go right through. And
how deep is a well in Florida normally? Like in
80 to 100 feet.
Oh, that's it, huh?
Yeah. Because the aquifers, right? That's why. Here's a good example. Out there in Arizona, very, very dry climate. That you don't get the rain, no lawns, no big things. Their landscaping is way different. Water table, to get good water, you're talking 500 feet down. Here, we get lots of rain, this and that, but our water is just 100 feet, maybe 120 below our feet. So we really need to be careful what we're putting
So I have
down on that ground.
probably a dumb question.
Okay.
Is there water under every square inch of the earth? I mean, is there always water no matter where you are?
There's
There's some places where you wouldn't get a well no matter how deep you dug.
Right.
Oh, really?
Right.
All right, you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Say, Larry, when you were in Havasu City, did you happen to see the London Bridge?
Yes, we ate under the London Bridge.
Isn't that something that for brick they brought that over from London over to Havasu City?
Yeah.
That was several years ago, but it's unbelievable how they did that. And I've seen it several years myself, but I didn't eat under it, but I looked at it.
That's cool. So they have a bridge that they actually imported from.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the reason that town exists, probably because of the tourists for that thing.
Cool.
Yeah, they had a whole British town.
I was going to call Caroline. I've got Viridian bushes in my backyard, a whole line of them,
Viburnum.
And they're looking kind of wild. Can I trim those back now, or should I wait and do it for the last time, maybe a month from now?
Is it just a few little, I'll call them wild hairs, those wild branches just sticking out, or do they need some real shaping?
It needs a lot of. They're really the bushes. I kind of neglected it, and it really needs a major haircut.
Major haircut. See, there's that whole school of thought is that I don't like to see any fresh new growth pop on too late in the fall. That we have have that possibility of cold weather. I know it was 65 this morning, which was a little chilly. That we're not thinking cold weather most of the time, but you got to look at that 6 weeks out from possible freezes and things like that. So I would probably try to get it done soon, just so that any new growth that the nice weather is going to probably have it put some fresh growth on to where it's going to harden off before the wintertime gets here.
Yeah, I believe because of the continuation of this kind of like hot summer weather we're having, I see a lot of new growth on the bush back there, and I think it's kind of waiting for some cold fronts or something to kind of say, okay, it's time to take our winter nap now.
Yeah, well, we won't get the cold fronts till sometime in November, December, if we get them at that point. The temperatures we're having here in September are not unusual. It's the dryness that's quite unusual for this this year, that we're dry here in September, as dry as we are. And so my thought is, you can go ahead and take care of that and prune that so that any new growth that comes on, hopefully will have hardened off enough that should we get some cold weather, say, because you figure right now, we're the 24th of September. 6 weeks from now is the first week of November. So you want to try to get any pruning. Look in that 6 weeks. So that's usually what I like to look, is that 6 weeks forward, is that you prune now or within the next week, you should be fine. And that, yes, it's probably going to put some more new growth on, but it in itself should have tempered itself off, so it should have hardened off, so that if we get some early cold, they're going to be fine. I mean, because they're cold hardy shrubs. You just never like to burn the new growth.
Yeah. Well, so I guess what I'll do is I'll just hold on for a little while yet until things kind of weather-wise slow down. And I guess we're in our dry season right now, because it kind of surprises me a little bit, because we've got these summer temperatures and you think it would kick up some thunderstorms, but I guess we've had a couple of fronts that went through, not necessarily a big temperature change, but I guess it's kind of dried out the humidity in the air, and that kind of kills any chance of thunderstorms.
Yeah, and all that tropical stuff that's way off to the east of us actually helps to pull the moisture away too. But you're either going to wait until after November or do it now. That was what I was trying to say, is you want to wait till it has cooled down enough that it's going to stop growing for a while, which means a couple months from now, or do it now, get it shaped up, and because you can cut that back a good ways, and what growth comes back should not be shooting out in all different directions. It won't have that length of time, but it'll harden off before it turns cold.
Yeah, according to the Weather Channel here the other day, the 30-day outlook for temperatures, we're going to be pretty much above normal for the next 30 days, according to them.
Right.
So I still think the bushes are going to continue to think it's time to keep growing. So I think I'll just hold back, and then,
wait till about November to January is probably what you're looking at, because we're always like that. No, September, October is always, warm weather. I mean, that's just the way it goes. We do not get cold until sometime in November, December. Our first expected frost isn't until the middle of November. And we can get one anytime between end of October, I've seen it that early, to middle of November. We've had some very cold mornings for Thanksgiving that warm to gorgeous afternoons. Our real cold weather doesn't usually happen till about January. So, wherever you're pruning, it's either, like I said, you could do it now without hurting it. It's going to regrow some, but that's why you prune it back a little further, let it regrow some, and it should be fine and set and dandy, without having to worry about it.
Yeah, being in the dry season right now, pretty strong. I can see the grass is starting to show a little stress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've got irrigation system. Do you think it's important for me to start watering maybe like once a week, or just kind of let the grass, like you say, this time of year starting to go to sleep, leave it alone?
No, I would water it because it's not cold enough for it to go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's still at that time that I would be irrigating once a week maybe. If we don't get any rain, but keep that in that once a week, or otherwise you'll put an early stress on that turf before we're cold enough for it to go into a dormancy. Because the sun is just
I guess the only rain we can really rely on right now are eventually cold fronts that come through here that spawn thunderstorms, but I think we're a little bit ways from that yet.
Yeah, I don't expect too many thunderstorms, not at this point in the year. But I mean, when the cool front, some kind of front manages to come through, I mean, it's just that the fronts that we've been having have prevented those coastal, breezes, wind, rains from coming in, from those collisions from occurring. One with all the tropical stuff staying out in the Atlantic, pretty far away from us, and the way those highs have been coming down and just pretty much pushing away the rain. I mean, you can't say we haven't had gorgeous weather. I mean, even when it's been a little warm, that there's been lower humidity, so it hasn't felt quite as hot. The night times, and overnights have been fantastic. I mean, this morning, Cat wanted to go outside. I opened the door a little bit, let the cat out. I said, I'll leave that open. My AC, the thermostat in the house said it was only 72 degrees. It's like, wow, that's, and it was cooler outside than it was in the house.
Your cat is named Cat?
No, the cat's named Little Bit.
Oh, Little Bit, okay.
Cat's named Peta.
Well, anyways, I miss that the thunderstorm every day or every other day, but I certainly don't miss the lightning. But anyways, it's been a hot summer, and it looks like it's going to be a warm fall and maybe a mild winter. I don't know, but anyways, it's always fun living down here in Florida because there's a lot of challenges, and thank God for programs like yours to help us get through these stormy periods.
Sure. But yeah, I'd go ahead and if you've got the irrigation, I'd go ahead and water thoroughly, like once a week. And go
about
ahead
half an inch.
3/4, if you can put that down, half an inch at least. But 3/4 of an inch once a week is pretty good.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Hugh. And if you'd like to call in, as Hugh just did, you are welcome to do that and invited. In fact, the number is 352-622-9622. And Carol Ann also has a Facebook page that you can use to show photographs of things and then perhaps ask a question.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because that's what I did.
That's what, yeah.
So I was in the desert last week, and I took a picture, and I'm showing Carol Ann the picture on her Facebook page that I posted. So if any of you know what this is, do you happen to know what that is?
I don't.
I saw this all over the desert.
I'm going to have to look and see.
For those just needing a description, it's like a very dry looking plant with like a bulbous, almost looks like it's
a segmented.
Almost looks like it's got an animal growing in like a cocoon, but I don't think it is because I saw this plant all over the desert.
And it just, I'm not familiar with the plant, obviously, because
it looks really dry to me.
Yeah, it does. It has no leaves that we would call leaves.
I know.
And those may be water storage. Who
knows? Right?
I'm not sure on that.
There was one road out there, Cholla, Cholla, that we had to cross all the time, so I became familiar with the name.
Okay.
And then I asked, what is that plant? Not this one, but a different plant. Let me see if I posted a picture of the one that's and they told me it was the Cholla. So, so this is a baby one. The one that looks like a cactus is cactusy, I guess.
Yeah.
But it actually, I wish I had taken a picture of a bigger one because they're like all over the place. They almost look like coral.
Okay.
Underwater.
Okay. But that's a cactus. I mean, that's definitely a cactus.
And I guess the rest of the pictures I put were just
looking out over.
Trees.
Yeah.
But there was one,
that you see in areas like that, you don't have large trees. The branching in that is just, it's sparse.
Correct.
Not a lot of large leaf. It's fine grass-like, or evergreen where it's not a larger leaf because that would transpire too much moisture into the air and they would dry up and die.
Oh, okay.
That's why. And so that's why you don't see, and they're not tall either. So, and that's probably moreover for the winds and things like that come across the desert.
It was like being on another planet, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be right back. The phone number to call in after we come back is 352-622-9622. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Consumer says we need to know what that was.
By law, a whistleblower complaint labeled in this way must be transmitted to Congress. Not shall be transmitted to Congress, must be.
Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway, says people are once again jumping to conclusions.
It's a presumptive negativity that is always trying to cloud this presidency and get in his way.
She was on Fox and Friends this morning. President Trump addresses the United Nations General Assembly this morning around 10:15 Eastern Time. He'll later meet with the leaders of the UK, India, and Iraq at the UN. America's listening to Fox News.
Pros like you expect more out of the brands you use every day. Lowe's gets it. It's why we stock the best brands so you can get the job done right every time. And now we're offering Pro customers a chance to give one of those brands a try for free. Right now, pros can get up to 10 gallons of Valspar paint absolutely free and experience firsthand how Valspar delivers a smooth application and reliable color for all your touch-up work. Take your next paint job to the next level. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Valid in Orlando and Phoenix stores only. Requires return authorization number. See Pro Desk for details.
It's happening. Wherever cupcakes are being frosted, songs are being recorded, and engines are being tuned, ADP is designing a better way to work. With industry-leading HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll, more companies rely on ADP than any other HR partner, from small business to global enterprise. See how ADP can help you and your people achieve what you're working for at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. The city of Ocala is being sued for arresting homeless people. The federal lawsuit says the arrests were made under an unconstitutional discriminatory ordinance. The officer who arrested 2 6-year-old children at an Orlando charter school last week has been fired. Detectives investigating the slaying of a 20-year-old mother in Marion County revealed on Thursday that she was stabbed to death in her Anthony home, and the suspect then contacted the victim's father online with a video call after the attack. A 40-year-old representative for a major medical device company is being held on a $100,000 bond in Marion County after he was accused of having thousands of images of child pornography. The date for the runoff election for Ocala City Council District 2 is set for November 19th. Gainesville Regional Airport is receiving a multi-million-dollar grant for terminal expansion, and the first days of autumn are greeting Ocala with overnight lows in the upper 60s. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Sunshine today, some clouds, and it's going to be quite warm this afternoon with a high of 86 at the coast, 92 inland. Then clear Tuesday night, mid to upper 60s inland, low 70s along the coast. Plenty of sunshine for your Wednesday. It'll be very warm again with a high in the upper 80s along the coast, mid 90s inland. And the hot weather continues Thursday with sunshine upper 80s at the coast, low to mid 90s inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Don't let the warm weather fool you. There's lots going on this week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. Just one example, Bob's famous selection of trees. Take your choice of dozens of varieties, many different sizes, and you always buy one and get a second one for half price. Get a big 5 to 7 footer of your choice for as little as $49.99, and a second one is half price. Check inside their old-timey greenhouse for a gigantic selection of indoor foliage, including peace lily, pothos, spider plants, wandering Jew, and many more. They're all 20% off. All Woodstock wind chimes, an Ocala favorite, they're 30% off this week at Bob Wine's. Come on out. They're open till 4 Monday through Friday and until 3 on Saturday. It's Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. In addition to our pasture mowing and tractor services, including our zero-turn mowers for your fence line finish. Also available, stump grinding, rototilling, and fence row spraying. We are family-owned and operated, licensed and insured, and farm-ready. Howell Gene, Gene, @yahoo.com, 352-629-2440. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Beautiful day in Ocala. 75 degrees here at the Paddock Mall. Today's high around 92. No mention of rain in the forecast. And just copy and paste that, Carol Ann, the whole week.
Pretty much, yeah, the whole week. And I did flip onto the weather on here. Give me the day that is. October 2nd, it's got it at like a 40% chance of rain.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so we're still looking. Yeah, we're still looking a ways away to get some rain. So yeah, I mean, if you have, we in the summertime we don't usually have to worry about irrigation, and normally into September. I mean, now we are here at the end of September. Lawn and things like that, if you've not been running your irrigation, are probably showing some signs that they need water. When those grass blades begin to fold, or you get out there and you walk on the grass to go see something, and it leaves a footprint behind, you need to water. That's when the lawn is telling you, we need water, we're thirsty. And even though we think, okay, first day of fall has happened, we don't begin our dormancy until November-ish, so you do still need to irrigate. I mean, that's, one of those things. Or you're putting your grass into undue stress at a time of year that you don't need to. I mean, and watering, if you want to, keep it moderate, once a week. I think, actually with the time change, I think we are down to once a week is all that you're allowed to water. So, but half to 3/4 of an inch, when you turn that sprinkler system on, if you don't have a sprinkler system, getting out there with the hose, it takes a little while to water like that, but trying to get a good thorough watering. Don't water shallow. I mean, that might green it up, but it's not enough. You want those roots to be able to go deep. That's how they stay, that's how they can grab more water on their own, and go ahead and water thoroughly. And I know they're not a sponsor, and I know you actually can't buy it in the stores, but we, years past, spoke about products called Hydrotain that hold the moisture into those areas. That stuff's still available. I think there's one or two commercial companies that probably do applications of it. I think they might do it a little more commercially, like golf courses, but you can buy this stuff online. I mean, you can, it's not something that's restricted in its use or anything like that. And it might be a thought that this September, as dry as we are, we may be going into a dry winter. And so it might be something that will help you to conserve some water. And so this would not be a bad time to begin to use something like that if it was something that interests you.
So, taking a crack at the science behind why we have no rain, is it because of all those storms that are out in the ocean that keep coming close to us? And then,
that just pulling out.
Yeah.
It's always been my belief that yes, that pulls, because I've seen it in the past where we've thought that we were going to get a storm and it swerved off and we had a gorgeous weekend, kind of thing, and it was like, wow, not a cloud in the sky, because it pulled all that moisture. So I think it might be a combination of that and what's pushing it away is coming down, and that's holding it off of the coast.
So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Correct. I mean, we have some nice weather. I mean, even when it's been up to 90, it actually hasn't been that bad out. We've had, you get a little bit of shade. I mean, anytime you're out in the full hot sun, it's going to be hot. In the wintertime when it's only 70, we crave the sunshine to be warm. Now let's go slide into the shade a little bit, and guess what? It's not that uncomfortable. Of course, this is coming from somebody who works outside. It has been beautiful mornings to sit out and have your coffee. Before your day starts, maybe, and even into the evenings, a little later evening, it's been a little cooler. So, if you have the opportunity to sit out and enjoy that, it's
one observation. If I work outdoors here, I will be soaked in sweat.
Right.
I was working outdoors in the desert.
Right.
Because my shirt was completely dry.
Because the lack of humidity, it evaporated.
Isn't that
off
amazing?
Of you at all times. That's where the quick dry.
And you get super thirsty too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was drinking so much water.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, they have. See, where we have to put dehumidifiers in our homes or the damp rid in our closets and things, there they have to actually bring humidifiers in.
That's right.
To bring, otherwise,
That's right.
Your carpeting's drying up, your clothing, your sinuses and everything else actually dries up.
Yeah,
so you have to bring moisture into the home.
Yeah. Absolutely. I wonder if I'll have to ask Matt this question. I wonder if the air conditioners in the cars
drip like it.
Do they put moisture in the air in the car? Or do they only take out the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder what the answer is to that one.
That's interesting.
Well, we'll find out in a half hour.
You have a question for him now. That's a good one.
All right, phone lines are open if you have a question. 622-9622. Carol Ann is here to talk to you about your lawns, your gardens, and I will take that call coming in right now.
Oh, okay,
as soon as I
great.
can find my cursor. Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann. Good morning.
Morning.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi, Carol Ann.
Hey, Sonny.
I didn't quite hear when you answered the phone. I lived out in Arizona. We've had a house, and instead of air conditioning, they have what they call the swamp cooler up up on top of the roof.
Okay.
And what that did was just run water over coils, which cooled the air down, and actually was working like a regular air conditioning in the house. Their house was, very cool compared to the outside.
Outside temperatures.
So,
Cool.
the fact that you weren't sweating out there is understandable, and people in Arizona use that to their advantage. So anyway, that was my experience from living out there. We only lived out there a short time, but it was nice. One year in Scottsdale, we had 10 inches of snow, and by 10 o'clock, everything was dry.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So the weather is really unusual in various parts of the country.
Oh, sure.
And I don't know. I just don't like the humidity here, I'll tell you that. Have a great day.
Thanks, Sonny. Thanks for your call.
Yeah, it is an exchange, right? You have the humidity here, but it's also green. I like it green.
Yeah.
I'm not the big fan of all that dust and sand.
On a naked planet kind of thing.
It is like a planet, a different planet, yeah.
Right. But, well, some people say that even when you come across the Florida state line, you're on a whole nother planet. At least that's what I say about gardening. One thing, just because I know, watch the clock here and make sure I get something in on gardening as well. They're gardening here. You still have summer plants out in the garden. Your marigolds and maybe zinnias and things like that are still going. Enjoy them while you can. I saw that our store got petunias in, and it's like, really? It's okay. It's the end of September. It's officially fall. But I still think it's a little too early for them unless you're putting them in containers where you can control where they're at. A little more than in the ground where you're going to put them out in the sun. Those ones I'd be waiting to put out just because I think we're just a little too hot still for them. Who's to say when we're going to, at least stay out of the 90s on a regular basis? I mean, because looking here, we're into the 90s at least through till the last of the month. And then we have the upper 80s, which mid to upper 80s for next week and a half. So it's still pretty warm for those, in my opinion, even though it's dry. So, because they don't like that whole heavy rains that we get in the summertime. That's one of the two reasons that they die off. So in the landscape, it might be okay here in another couple weeks to put them in. If you're putting them in pots or hanging baskets or something like that, where you can control if they're in a little bit more shade in the hottest part of the day, at least for these next few weeks until it cools down some or stays a little more consistently in the middle 80s and down on that, with the nighttime temperatures being in the 60s. I mean, that's fantastic for them. They'd have no problem with that. But those are the first of the cool season stuff to come in. A lot of the others will probably start coming in the next couple weeks. If your summer stuff still looks good, go ahead and leave that there. Enjoy it now, because some of those actually have a little more fall color than our cool season plants. Our cool season plants always remind me of spring.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the pinks and the purples and those colors and the reds that say spring and summer, and fall you think of your oranges and yellows and those and the darker reds of like your mums and some of those plants, and your marigolds and things and zinnias and gazanias and those
gazanias.
It's a cool name. I like to say that one. But that those but fall stuff is starting to, it's going to start to come in. We'll start changing out some of our stuff if that's what you like to do with your annual beds. You can still get some perennials into the ground, now get them established before the colder weather does come in, and set them, into a little bit of a dormancy for the wintertime. In your veggies, go ahead and it's a little warm to put out things like cabbage and broccoli and things like that, but you could start your seeds inside. Unfortunately, and I hope a lot of you listened back at I'm trying to think of what part of summer that was, when I kept telling you to go out there and get your seed now before the seed racks are gone, because they're gone. I don't know if I know where the store I'm in and that company has no seed racks. They're gone. Boom. You're not going to, there's no seeds in the store. Whether or not the other big blue store that's near here to if they have any, because usually they convert their garden center and that seasonal department goes into holidays and things like that, and most of the time they don't really keep much of anything from, it condenses way down. I mean, hard to find stuff that we would use year round, because it's a corporate thing.
That's saying blue is Lowe's.
We're the blue one.
What's the other blue?
Then there's then the orange one is across over there.
Oh, that's Home Depot.
And then the other blue one would be the one that begins with a W.
Okay, that's a blue store. I never thought that was a blue store.
Yeah, they're blue. Yeah, they're blue too. Yeah. Yeah, they're another blue one. See, we're red, actually. The Lowe's is red, so, because that's our red, yeah. Even though our sign is blue.
Okay, maybe that's
it is kind of weird. Yeah. I guess we're a little more red, white, and blue kind of thing. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'll find any seed. I have not been in the big orange box.
Are there
or anything like that?
Like with clothing, sometimes you can get them at a discount if you buy them out of season?
With seed, no, because the seeds are not owned by the stores. So it's with the stores only pay those companies whatever gets scanned and paid for by you, the customer. And so they can't mark them down because they don't own them.
What about tools, like gardening tools? Are they cheaper?
Occasionally they will go on clearance, especially in stores that totally eliminate or almost eliminate their garden center kind of things. But like the big orange one and us in the big red one, we don't. I mean, there might be some from the manufacturers that are just saying, because they're going to change the packaging, or something's going to change with the product, so those ones might clearance out and go away, but they keep their pruners, year round, and shovels and rakes and things like that. Normally, those kind of things will go on sale, like at the beginning of spring, and then sometimes in the early fall, just because it's the fall cleanup. So you might get some rakes and wheelbarrow, or whatever that might go on sale. But if you have gardeners in your, which most, I think, the folks who listen do gardening and landscape and things like that. But if you actually have gardening people in your life, you're looking for some of those gardening tools for them if you're looking at gifts now, because there won't be as many. Some of those things if it does sell down, they don't ship back in because either the manufacturers have sold through their quantity, or the distribution centers for the stores have sold out of what their allotment was for the year. So you're looking, and pots that were discontinued and things like that, most of those I think clearanced out already, and they went quick. There was one I was looking at, and then I watched the lady grab the last two, and I went, oops, okay. I didn't have the money anyway, so it was, I sort of pouted, but it was okay.
This is a weird question, I guess, but are there laws that prevent me from, for example, going out into the national forest, finding a plant that I like, and then just saying, oh, this would look nice in my yard?
Oh, yeah, that's not legal. Yeah, that's not legal at all.
Is it only because it's the national forest?
No, you're not supposed to do that anywhere on private, on anything.
Really?
Yeah. One example is the palmetto berries, the saw palmetto.
Right.
That was, it's one of those fantastic things that they use to make nutritional supplement for prostate issues and saw palmetto. Well, it used to be people would just go out during that season and harvest and sell them to these manufacturers, and that's illegal. Because it's illegal now, because what's happened is there goes all the seed that keeps those, that replenishes those. And so now, even if you have saw palmetto, say you got some good saw palmetto scrub on your own property, you still need to have a permit to harvest it from the state. And I think that permit is just pretty much saying, so that they know how much is coming out of the state. It's not, I don't believe it costs you anything, or if it is, it's not, because it's your own property. But, and if you're going to let somebody else come get them, they have to have a permit and pay a pay a thing, even if it's on your private property, but out in the forest and things like that, don't be taking stuff out of the natural areas at the seashore, things like that.
Now, what about,
look at this beautiful fan of the sea oats. I'll take that. Well, those little seeds need to drop to the ground and take root again.
So what about the
legal.
other way that you've taught us about, like where you take a leaf or a branch, you don't really pull the whole thing up?
Yeah, you're still not supposed to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, take only pictures, leave only footprints.
What is it called again? When you propagate?
No, well, that's actually, propagating is taking either seed or branch or something like that and creating another plant.
Right, okay.
But
that's illegal too?
Yeah, you're not supposed to take or seed pod, nothing like that, because they reproduce themselves. You figure if every visitor did that to one or two trees, those trees would die. Or you no longer have seed, and that's where a lot of things have gone out of certain areas, is because they were taken away. Kunti is one, everybody calls it a palm or a fern. It's neither. It's a cycad. Cycad. Yeah, just like the sago is a cycad, but this one's kind of cooler. That the seeds and things like that, people go in and harvest the seeds. You're not allowed. That's how it reproduces itself. It can't defend itself, except being that the seeds are toxic. So, it's just, it's regular. It's not even regulated. It's just, it's not legal. To go take. And the only thing you can take out of the Ocala National Forest, as far as I know, is at Christmas time. You can get your permit. They let you go into certain areas and cut down the sand pines. So you can have a Christmas tree.
That's $5 usually.
But you have, it might be $7 now, I think. Yeah, I think the price might have gone up. But and that's something, that they allow you to do from certain areas. You can't just go, willy-nilly down go down a hog trail or something, or grab a fire. There's a fire break trail and go down and just start cutting down trees. No, not allowed to do that. So always, and that's just same thing. Don't go to a botanical garden or other public garden or things like that, and just go, oh, that's so pretty. I want that flower. Can I have that flower? It's like, no. There's pollinators using those flowers to help make the seed for that. So don't take that flower or pinch that little. It's just a small piece. And no, you don't do those.
The phone line is open if you'd like to call Carol in right now. The number is 352-622-9622. And don't forget, Carol Ann also has a Facebook page that she created just as a companion to the radio show. Great. It's called In the Garden, and it's kind of a fun way to share visually with photographs what you're looking at, or videos.
Right, anything, video. And I try to share, too, some of the stuff that comes out of either UF or some of the other university programs. And last week, I think it was, back on the 19th, I shared one on pruning Christmas cactus. Now, I had never tried it. I don't know if I will off of this one I have. I might pay attention to what I've got. Maybe next year I will, and take all those little pieces and stick them in. But it's showing how to prune that to get more bloom. And I'd have to reread it. Prune your,
that was the thing you posted on your site. Yes.
Yeah. And in order to get to more bloom,
that
to
was
keep
interesting.
it more compact on that. And also remember, here it is, the end of September. If your Christmas cactus are still sitting in that room that you sit and have coffee every night with the lights on until 9 o'clock at night, you need to move it. And I actually may need to move mine around a little bit, because I've been leaving porch light on.
Because it needs darkness?
When it's dark outside, it needs to be dark where it is. And, you don't want to be throwing bunch of fertilizer at it right now. If you haven't fed it in a while, maybe a very light solution, if you have a cactus fertilizer or or even a light multi-purpose fertilizer is probably not going to hurt it too bad. You just don't want to force a whole lot of new growth to it. You just want it to, to be healthy. You cut back a little on, rain's cutting back on its own watering, so it sort of follows its natural kind of things. But the darkness, when it's dark, so I believe it's beginning to get dark at around I could look it up here. maybe.
It seemed like it got light later this morning.
Yes, it is.
Just in the 1 week I've been gone.
It seems like it doesn't get truly light till going on 7 o'clock. It seems like.
Yeah.
So I believe it's starting to get dark at around. I want to say it was like 7:15 and 7:30 or something like that at night. That it was actually, you're needing your headlights on and things like that. I don't see if I can find out where my, see where it's not telling me when my sunrise.
Did you finally get hooked up to the internet?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, good.
It was, I guess, my computer, I guess.
Just being difficult.
It is. Okay, sunrise was 7:17 this morning, or Sunday was. No, that says sunrise, not Sunday. 7:17 a.m. and sunset 7:22. So, yeah, it's
12 and 12.
Yeah, just
right
about. Yeah, right. Just about right there in the middle. So, that and your
I guess that's why they call it the equinox.
That's
equal.
That's right. That's right. Your poinsettias are another one that's going to want the darkness at night. When it starts to get dark. And you're looking from. Let's see, from Christmas you got 4. What is that? 5, 6, 7, or 8, 9, 10, 11. We've only got about 11 weeks or so, 12 weeks till Christmas, because today's the 24th. So, that's like 11 weeks till Christmas. So, you're starting to think about that whole thing of making sure that they're getting enough darkness. Because it takes it a few weeks for that to get into that system. So you might consider whatever you need to do, whether or not it's shutting a blind and putting something so that the daylight's not going outside to where your plants are, or moving them to that guest room that doesn't, that's not being used right now, so that you'll be able to enjoy them.
It is kind of difficult because you're going to stay up later. Then the sun is going to be up, and your lights will be on.
Your
in
lights
the house.
come on, and that's where you end up with that. So it's like you need to make sure you shut the blind, pull the blind across so it's not shining out to that part of the garden, and even the ones, like I said, the potted Christmas cactus. It might be easier to just give it a nice little drink, set it in that guest room where it's not getting, nobody's coming in there and flipping on lights in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Wow.
So. Something to think about, but that was kind of interesting on the pruning. I only have one big Christmas cactus right now, so I'm a little leery on pruning, but I might try it. So we'll see.
And those instructions are on Carol Ann's Facebook page.
They are on the Facebook
page. Which is very informational, or instructional, I guess.
Yeah, and it's a group page, so you do have to ask to join. I think I just approved somebody the other day. I don't even have any questions on it to prove it. I just sort of
to answer
to be part of it. So it's pretty simple. You put in. It's like, okay, usually
it's free.
It's free.
It's also advertising free. There's no ads on it.
Right. There's no ads on it, and I mean, unless you're part of if you're part of a garden club, or of something, even the reminder, if you'd want to put it out that about the farmers market that's downtown at McPherson. Yeah, if you're part of that or something like that, and you just want to remind people that that's going on, that's cool. Don't advertise everything that you've got, but go, hey, listen, don't forget that there's opportunity to come out and get fresh fruit and vegetables and fresh locally produced items. I mean, that's great. I just don't want the business stuff. Nobody's selling sunglasses and
there's a lot of sunglass salespeople out there.
I know.
Well, this hour went so fast. I wasn't even paying attention.
No, it did.
Well, I missed you last week. It was good to be back and talk to you about the gardens and the crazy plants I saw in the desert.
And that was all good. Yes.
All right, getting closer to the cooler weather, so maybe next week we'll have more cool weather conversation.
We will see what's going on. I lost my cursor. There it is.
Thank you, Carol Ann.
Thank you, Larry.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. The city of Ocala is being sued for arresting homeless people. The federal lawsuit says the arrests were made under an unconstitutional discriminatory ordinance. The officer who arrested 2 6-year-old children at an Orlando charter school last week has been fired. Detectives investigating the slaying of a 20-year-old mother in Marion County revealed on Thursday that she was stabbed to death in her Anthony home, and the suspect then contacted the victim's father online with a video call after the attack. A 40-year-old representative for a major medical device company is being held on a $100,000 bond in Marion County after he was accused of having thousands of images of child pornography. The date for the runoff election for Ocala City Council District 2 is set for November 19th. Gainesville Regional Airport is receiving a multi-million-dollar grant for terminal expansion, and the first days of autumn are greeting Ocala with overnight lows in the upper 60s. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Visit Southeastern Trailers today. We have new and used enclosed cargo and open utility trailers, along with built-to-order trailers. We service all brands of cargo and utility trailers, installation of hitches, wiring and electric brake controls, and installation of trailer accessories, with locations in Ocala and Ormond Beach to serve all of Central Florida. Call 1-888-622-1816. Again, that's 1-888-622-1816.
Sunshine today, some clouds, and it's going to be quite warm this afternoon with a high of 86 at the coast, 92 inland. Then clear Tuesday night, mid to upper 60s inland, low 70s along the coast. Plenty of sunshine for your Wednesday. It'll be very warm again with a high in the upper 80s along the coast, mid 90s inland. And the hot weather continues Thursday with sunshine upper 80s at the coast, low to mid 90s inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Don't let the warm weather fool you. There's lots going on this week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. Just one example, Bob's famous selection of trees. Take your choice of dozens of varieties, many different sizes, and you always buy one and get a second one for half price. Get a big 5 to 7 footer of your choice for as little as $49.99, and a second one is half price. Check inside their old-timey greenhouse for a gigantic selection of indoor foliage, including peace lily, pothos, spider plants, wandering Jew, and many more. They're all 20% off. All wood-stocked wind chimes, an Ocala favorite, they're 30% off this week at Bob Wine's. Come on out. They're open till 4 Monday through Friday and until 3 on Saturday. It's